Imagine a world shrouded in darkness, where the simple act of turning on a light or sending an instant message would be considered magic. Now think about the impact of a discovery as powerful as electricity transforming every aspect of our lives. From illuminated nights to machines accomplishing the impossible, electricity has shaped our history and driven unimaginable advancements. But what if this force had been harnessed 1,000 years earlier? What paths would humanity have followed? What innovations could have emerged centuries ahead of their time? Today, let's explore the impact of electricity on society and how its discovery forever changed the course of history. Anna's accelerated industrial revolution. If electricity had been mastered 1,000 years earlier, the world would have undergone unimaginable transformations. The Industrial Revolution, which occurred between the 18th and 19th centuries, would have been brought forward by centuries, completely altering the trajectory of history. Imagine factories emerging in the heart of the Middle Ages, where electric machines replaced rudimentary tools and manual labor. The production of textiles, metals, and even food would be revolutionized, transforming small artisanal workshops into massive industrial centers. Entire cities could have become production hubs long before fossil fuels were widely understood. Instead of relying on water or wind to generate energy, electric mills could produce food on a larger scale and with greater efficiency. This would reduce hunger and stabilize societies earlier, enabling resources to be directed toward advancements. In science and education, transportation would also be radically transformed. Electric-powered carriages could replace horses, revolutionizing commerce and logistics between cities and kingdoms. Roads and trade routes could be rapidly expanded and modernized, connecting distant territories like never before. An advanced transportation system would change the pace of travel, facilitating the exchange of ideas, cultures, and goods. Another crucial impact would be on social structures. With electricity freeing people from exhausting manual tasks, more time could be devoted to education, art, and innovation. Universities could expand, nurturing brilliant minds that would further accelerate technological progress. A common worker in the Middle Ages, for example, might have greater opportunities for learning, as electricity reduced reliance on physical labor. In agriculture, electric tools could enable large-scale harvesting with less human effort. This would transform farming villages into prosperous communities, reducing inequalities and encouraging migration to urban centers. Finally, the environmental impact cannot be ignored. Early adoption of electricity could reduce humanity's reliance on fossil fuels, avoiding the levels of pollution we face today. Sources like wind and hydropower might have been exploited much earlier, creating a more sustainable world. Accelerated technological progress. Mastering electricity 1,000 years earlier would have triggered an extraordinary technological leap, transforming the way civilizations advanced throughout history. Imagine inventions like the telegraph or electric lighting being developed in the Middle Ages, a time dominated by simple tools and manual labor. The presence of electronic devices would turn entire kingdoms into technological powerhouses, overcoming the isolation and limitations of that period. In communication, the creation of systems like the electric telegraph would allow messages to be sent in minutes instead of days or weeks. This would profoundly impact military strategies, enabling armies to coordinate attacks more efficiently. Instead of horseback messengers traveling long distances, communication cables could connect castles, cities, and even continents. Imagine a Middle Ages where the Crusades were organized via instant messages. Science too would make massive strides. Electric equipment for experiments could pave the way for revolutionary discoveries in medicine, astronomy, and physics. For instance, precise instruments could help scholars map stars more accurately or develop prototypes of technologies we associate with the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. The impact on education would also be profound. Schools could have electric lighting, enabling evening classes and the use of innovative teaching tools for the time. Medieval scribes, who spent days writing by hand, could use electric machines to print books faster, spreading knowledge on a much larger scale. In everyday life, rudimentary electric-powered household devices could emerge, such as electric mills for grinding grain or water pumping systems to ease farming and urban water supply. This early automation would elevate living standards and spur urban population growth. Another fascinating point is the creative potential that would be unlocked. With electricity, musicians and artists could experiment with amplified sounds or theatrical lighting for performances. Medieval art would literally have a new glow, while architects could design illuminated cathedrals that would amaze worshippers even more. In summary, the early mastery of electricity would open doors to technological progress that would transform not only practical life, but also how people viewed their role in the world. Social and cultural transformation. Mastering electricity 1,000 years earlier would have sparked an unprecedented cultural and social revolution, transforming how people lived, worked, and interacted. Imagine medieval cities, illuminated by electric lights, where nightlife flourished with fairs, markets, and community events. Daily routines would expand beyond the dependency on the solar cycle, allowing commerce, leisure, and social interaction to thrive at all hours. Electricity would also profoundly impact the structure of cities. Brighter and safer urban centers would promote migration from rural areas, leading to the emergence of metropolises far ahead of their time. Public squares, churches, and castles could be illuminated at night, becoming vibrant meeting and celebration hubs. This shift would accelerate the rise of a more connected and cosmopolitan society. In the realm of work, electricity would alter job dynamics. Many manual labor roles would be replaced by technical or intellectual professions, such as machine operators or electrical systems engineers. This shift would also encourage greater professional specialization, leading to the early emergence of technical schools and universities focused on science and technology. Culturally, access to electricity could revolutionize entertainment. Theatrical. Performances would benefit from sophisticated lighting and sets, while music and other art forms would explore new means of expression. Imagine a medieval opera featuring electrified light and sound effects, captivating audiences in cathedrals or palaces. Domestic life would also become more practical and comfortable. Electric devices could simplify tasks like cooking, washing clothes, and preserving food, freeing up time for leisure and education. This would directly impact the role of women in society, as they would have more opportunities to engage in activities beyond domestic work. Finally, electricity would transform leisure and consumption. Illuminated gathering places, such as taverns or gaming centers, could stay open later, fostering socialization and entertainment. Public festivals and events could be held at flexible hours, attracting larger and more diverse audiences. However, these transformations would come with challenges, such as controlling who had access to electricity and how this new wealth would be distributed. Nonetheless, electricity would have been a game changer, creating a world where the boundaries between day and night, work and leisure, and even social classes were significantly altered. Shifts in power structures. If electricity had been mastered 1,000 years earlier, global and regional power systems would have been entirely redesigned. Kingdoms controlling this new technology would gain a strategic advantage so great that they could easily dominate their neighbors and expand their territories. Possession of electricity would become the ultimate symbol of power, reshaping alliances, conflicts, and the geopolitics of the time. Imagine a medieval castle with electric lighting, automated defenses, and instant communication between its watchtowers. Such a kingdom would be decades, if not centuries, ahead of its rivals, enabling it to organize troops more efficiently, secure borders, and manage resources effectively. Wars would be fought differently, with electricity-based weapons replacing traditional swords and arrows. Access to electricity would further deepen the divide between advanced societies and those unable to master the technology. Great empires could emerge earlier, basing their dominance not just on military strength, but also on their ability to produce and distribute electricity. Conversely, isolated regions or those lacking natural resources for electricity generation would quickly be marginalized, creating an even more unequal world. Economically, those controlling electricity production and distribution would wield absolute power over entire markets. Feudal systems could transform into energy corporations, with kings and nobles acting as the first energy magnates. This could concentrate power in a few hands, making these leaders nearly unchallengeable. On the other hand, new social classes would emerge. Machine operators, electrical engineers, and other skilled workers would become key players in economies, elevating their societal status. The struggle for control of electricity would also drive innovation, pushing other nations to find alternative ways to compete. This new power dynamic would reshape how governments manage their societies. Centralized states could emerge earlier, with electric grids controlled by administrations governing large areas with unprecedented efficiency. Bureaucracy would also evolve, enabling electronic processing of documents and information, improving governance and reducing human errors. However, controlling this technology would not be without conflict. Large-scale wars over electrical energy sources could arise, with kingdoms competing for rivers, waterfalls, or other resources essential for power generation. Electricity, while fostering progress, could also become a source of intense political and military strife. Environmental impact. If electricity had been mastered 1,000 years earlier, the environmental impact throughout history could have taken a very different path. The transition to using electrical energy in such an ancient era might have drastically reduced reliance on fossil fuels, which for centuries have contributed to air pollution, deforestation, and climate change. Renewable sources such as hydro and wind power could have been harnessed much earlier, making the world a more sustainable place. Imagine medieval communities building dams to power rudimentary electric generators. The energy generated by these structures would not only light up cities, but also provide power for agricultural tools and irrigation systems. This would reduce the need to burn wood or coal, preserving forests and preventing ecosystem degradation. Another significant impact would be on urbanization. With electricity powering factories and transportation, large cities could have been planned with energy efficiency in mind from the beginning. Electrically powered public transport systems, such as trams and trains, might have replaced carriages and horses, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Even in rural areas, electrical equipment for agriculture would lessen dependence on environmentally harmful practices. The early use of renewable sources would also encourage scientific advancements in clean energy. If electricity had been an early technological priority, solar and geothermal energies would likely have been researched and implemented centuries earlier, ensuring a sustainable energy matrix for future generations. On the other hand, the early mastery of electricity might have had its challenges. Producing electrical equipment and building infrastructure such as power grids could have led to increased use of metals and minerals, resulting in intensive natural resource extraction. However, the impact of such exploration would likely have been smaller than the damage caused by the historical reliance on coal and oil. An interesting aspect is how people's mindsets could have shifted. With access to electricity and its advantages, ancient societies might have developed greater environmental awareness, promoting the conservation of natural resources from an early stage. Instead of facing ecological crises like those we experience today, the world might have built a more harmonious relationship with the environment. In summary, early electricity could have radically changed the fate of our planet, helping preserve ecosystems and mitigating the effects of climate change. This early environmental revolution would have had a direct impact on the well-being of populations and the longevity of natural resources. Imagining a world where electricity was mastered 1,000 years earlier shows how this technology could have rewritten human history. From an early industrial revolution to accelerated technological progress, the changes would have been vast and far-reaching, directly impacting society, culture, power systems, and even the environment. Although challenges such as natural resource management would have arisen, the benefits of an early transition to renewable sources would have been immeasurable. Do you agree with these conclusions? Do you think any important points were missed? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can continue this discussion. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on videos like this. Your Participation is crucial for the growth of our community. Also, check out the video appearing on your screen now.